Hi loves, welcome and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, as you can tell by the title, is going to be a full face makeup tutorial on this look right here. I have not recorded a full face makeup tutorial in what feels like forever, so I'm really excited for today's video. I feel like I've definitely toned it down when it comes to doing eyeshadow looks. I used to be obsessed with doing eyeshadow looks, but now I'm just kind of not really into it as much as I used to be, but I definitely want to get back into it, especially considering the fact that it's spring and summertime. So I feel like it's the perfect time to get back into like the colorful eyeshadow looks that I used to do. So for my eyes, I did use Plouise eyeshadows, some of the best eyeshadows on the market. I did use her single eyeshadow ones, all on this page right here, because these, I believe you can still get these. I did want to use the Watch the Queen Conquer palette, which looks like this, but this is discontinued. It is gorgeous though, you guys. If you do have this palette, I definitely recommend you using this one. Her single eyeshadows are pretty good too, but this one is just beautiful. I love this palette so much, and I'm so glad I got a backup of it because yeah, this palette is bomb. But yes, you guys, all products that I use in today's video will be listed in the video instead of in the description box. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say, you guys. Let's just go ahead and get into the makeup tutorial. Okay, you guys, so I'm starting out with my P. Louise Woman Base in the shade 2.5. This is the only eyeshadow base that I use for the most part. This is literally my favorite shade as well. I just feel like it's perfect. It's light enough for the shades to pop on my skin, but it is not too dark to where the shades just don't really pop as much. So yeah, I like to just apply that with a P. Louise brush, and then I buff that out with a Made by Mitchell brush and just make sure everything is nice and even throughout my lash line all the way up to my brow bone. So now I'm just taking my sponge, you guys, and I'm just blending that base out. I just like to make sure that the base is evenly distributed across my lash line and crease and everything like that. So now I'm going into my P. Louise single eyeshadows, and you guys, I cannot remember the shades off the top of my head. They will be listed in the description box in the exact same order that I used them. So yeah, I'm just taking that first shade in the crease, and I'm taking a small blending brush just so I can get into the crease. I don't have much lid space in my opinion, so yeah. Now I'm going into the second shade, and I'm not diffusing it just yet because this is the time where I like to just pack on the color and just make sure that everything is nice and opaque. But since we are going in with just one more shade in the crease, usually I go in with more, but just for this look I decided to just keep it to 3. So yeah, I'm just going to blow out these 2 shades that I just applied. Usually I don't do that. I just wait to blow it out until my transition shade. But like I said, I'm only using 3 shades in the crease, so that's what I decided to do. I'm just packing on the color and then diffusing it out. So now I'm going in with my transition shade, and I'm just packing that on. I do like to diffuse it like I said earlier, but I do motions of packing on the shade as well, especially when it's light colors like this, because I just want to make sure that everything is nice and opaque. And also notice, you guys, how I went up in sizes with my brushes. You definitely want to do that just to make sure that you get a nice diffuse and pretty much a cohesive kind of eyeshadow look. I did cut my crease off of camera because I have many videos of me doing that, but these are the shades that I went in for the lid. I wanted to go for more of a ombre kind of look for the lid area, so I went in with the bubblegum pink shade first. I love to use the e.l.f. eyeshadow brush to do this step, you guys. I love packing on shades with this brush. So yeah, I went in with the bubblegum pink shade first, and then I went in with the coral shade second, and I'm just making sure I'm leaving a little bit of space in between the colors so that way I can go back and diffuse everything and pretty much give a more ombre kind of look and make sure everything is fading into each shade perfectly. So yeah, I just did that. And then the last shade that I'm going into is more of like a hot pink shade, and once I applied that last shade, I just went in with the crease shade to pretty much make sure that everything is nice and diffused on the edges as well. So now that I'm finished with that, I just moved on to the other eye off of camera, and now we can get into the face portion. So this is one of my favorite primers of all time, you guys. It is the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer, and I'm just applying that all over my skin. I love to use this primer when I'm going in with a more mattifying foundation because it just gives me the perfect kind of finish. I get the longevity and the full coverage from the matte foundation, but the primer helps the foundation look more like skin. So yeah, I'm going into the Too Faced Born This Way Soft Matte Foundation, the shade Chai, and I'm just applying that all over my skin using my Huda Beauty Face Base brush. So yeah, I just like to apply the foundation, let it sit on my skin for like 30 seconds to add a little bit more coverage, and then I like to just buff that out. And as you can see, I'm using pouncing motions, you guys. I am really huge on that. Do not swipe, okay? I only swipe when it comes to like my forehead a little bit, but that's just to like blend out the product. But I always go back to pouncing motions, you guys, because it's just better. You don't want to have any streaks in your foundation or anything like that. And when you pounce, it definitely does add more coverage to the foundation. So now I'm going into the Too Faced Born This Way concealers. I figure why not, since I'm going in with the foundation as well. And I mixed these two shades, and I'm not gonna lie, I did make it just a little bit too light. The Warm Honey is a little bit too golden, but the shade Golden is a little bit too light to use by itself. So I mixed the two shades, and I used just a tad bit too much of Golden, but it's okay, you guys. It's all gonna blend out nicely. This was definitely like a trust the process kind of tutorial when it comes to the face portion. So yeah, I just blended that out with my sponge. I did let the concealer sit on my skin for about 30 to 45 seconds because like I said, when you do that, it definitely adds more coverage. But as you can see, it's definitely looking a little crazy. But you guys, this is a full beat kind of looks. So yeah, I just went in and blended out the edges. The foundation brush has a little bit of leftover foundation, so this technique is perfect when you go in with your highlighting shade. It'll definitely blend out everything nicely. So yeah, you guys, I don't know if you know this about me, but I like to go in with a super brightening concealer. I like a bright under eye, so I just applied that. The NARS Soft Matte Concealer definitely blends really nicely on top of the Too Faced Born This Way, so those are the ones that I like to use together. So yeah, I'm just blending that out, and as you can see, I kept it mainly in the inner corner, and I'm just lightly diffusing the edges because that's where I want most of the brightness to be, is in the inner corner. And yeah, like I said, this is a full beat, so I just wanted everything to be very like dramatic and stuff, so I decided to put that lighter shade everywhere else that I highlighted as well. So yeah, after I blended that out, I just went in with my Juvia's Place cream bronzer, and I'm just applying that pretty much everywhere that I did not highlight. So hollows of my cheeks, the temples of my forehead, and also my jawline as well. So now I'm going to go into setting everywhere that I highlighted. I am using the Huda Beauty Easy Bake setting powder in the shade Cherry Blossom Cake. And you guys, I am new to using a powder puff. I don't know why, I just been wanting to get into it. But yeah, you guys, I will say I'm definitely still learning how to do this. Because usually I go in with a brush to set my highlighted areas. But yeah, as you can see, this was a lot of powder, and I literally put the excess powder on the back of my hand, but it was still a lot that came up on the powder puff. So yeah, I'm still learning, but yeah, so I'm just using that to pretty much set everywhere that I highlighted, and I'm just dusting off the excess powder. I'm going into the Juvia's Place bronzer and just setting everywhere that I applied the cream bronzer. I love these two together, you guys. The Juvia's Place cream bronzer and powder bronzer are really, really nice, and they're pigmented, and I also love the shade range as well. So I went back into the Huda powder and I just chisel out my bronzer, and then I use the rest of the powder to set the rest of my skin. So yeah, I just did that and I just let that sit there for a little bit, and I just used the rest to set everywhere else. So I am gonna let that sit for a minute, and then I'm gonna go into blush. Usually I go into cream blush as well, but I knew what kind of blush I was using, and honestly Patrick Ta blushes are really, really nice and pigmented, just the powder alone. So I figured I didn't need to go in with the extra layer of makeup. I can just go straight into powder blush. So after I apply that, I just dusted off that powder under my bronzer, and the line is kind of harsh, you guys, but it is going to settle in a little bit once I do set my face with a more hydrating spray. So I went in with these two different ones. I go in with the one size setting spray first, and then I top it off with the Milk makeup setting spray. So I like to do this technique when it comes to my highlight, you guys. I go in with a hydrating setting spray, and then I immediately go into the highlight because it does make it pop a little bit more and just makes it look more shimmery and just glisten more on my skin. So yeah, I did apply my mascara and my lashes off of camera, and I just went in with that first purple crease shade that we use in the crease, and I just used that on my lash line. That's the only shade that I used because I didn't want it to be too dramatic on the eyes, that it, you know, it's already dramatic enough. So yeah, I went in with a pretty shimmery pink shade to just make my eyes pop a little bit more. And yeah, so we're just gonna move on to lips. I went in with the translucent powder over my lips because it just dries them out a little bit, so that way I can have more longevity, and it also makes your lip liner a little bit more pigmented. So yeah, that's a little hack that you guys can try if you haven't already. So yeah, I went in with this pencil that I later realized it was just a little bit too dark for this look. I wanted something a little bit more lighter and more on the nude side. This was kind of like a cooler type of brown, so I did change that off of camera later throughout the video. But yeah, so this is another technique that I like to do. I like to go in with foundation and just line out the lip line. It does make my lips look a little bit more fuller, and it also just gives the lip look a little bit more of a crisp kind of look. So yeah, I do like to do this technique a lot. So now I'm going into my liquid lipstick, and it's extremely bright, you guys, because once I put on the gloss, it's definitely going to tone down a lot. It looks really crazy, but yeah, you guys, this whole look was pretty much like a trust the process kind of thing. But yeah, I'm going into a nude lip gloss. This is See Through by MAC. It is a really beautiful shade, and then I went in with my e.l.f. lip oil to pretty much just blend everything together. It's a clear gloss, and it just makes it look more shiny and glistening like on my lips. So yeah, as you can see, it was a bit too dark, but I did switch it up, and you'll be able to tell a little bit. But yes, you guys, this is the end of the tutorial. I really hope you all enjoyed today's tutorial and you learned something new. If you do like the look, please make sure to give me a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next one. Mwah.